I don't really keep on track of how many times I've run into climate, related content, but like it'll come up from different places, like news on TV or like social media. Sometimes like even on IG story might repost it. So I'm not actually like searching for it, but it'll come up from different places.
其实偶尔吧，就是它会夹杂在不同的短视频里面，就可能刷着刷着，它就突然出现了这种极端天气或是暴雨怎么样这种预警，就是我觉得挺经常的。
Well, my initial reaction is always a sense of like urgency and anxiousness because it feels personally related or connected to me. But after seeing the same stuff over and over again, it's more like a sense of tiredness.
第一反应还是会很紧张，就觉得事情很严重。但因为这种信息它出现的太频繁了，时间久了就觉得也还好。
Well, as I just said, if the same stuff comes up over and over again, then, if I'm like used to it or if I've seen it already, then yes, I would like scroll away.
时间久了还是会忽略的，就是太多了。如果是这样子相同的，会让我觉得比较焦虑，让我觉得说，之后如果它真的发生了，我要怎么去面对它？所以很多时候我选择就直接划走。
Well, I don't think it made a huge impact in terms of feeling happiness or not because well it does influence my perception of like the world around me, but I don't think it made a huge difference on my happiness particularly.
我觉得会有一点，就是如果这种事情很极端的天气一直在出现的话，会觉得说会不会有世界末日？对，然后会觉得说要生活在当下，就不太敢去想太远太远的事情。
I don't see numbness as not caring or neglecting, but like it's more like we're trying to live our own life without putting ourselves in a position where we always worry about climate related stuff.
我觉得它是我选择性去麻木的对待这件事情，就是它变成一个我的生活方式。如果我对每一条极端天气的信息都很紧张的话，我没有办法生活的。所以我觉得选择麻木是我处理对待这种信息一种方式。
To understand how young people process climate information today, our group conducted a survey of 67 university students. The results are telling. 86 of them are encounter climate information daily, whether through news, social media, or coursework. But emotionally, what stood out was not anxiety, but helplessness and numbness. Even more revealing, while 74% reported that this information affected their well-being, 89% admitted to avoiding it. This points to a clear tension. Young people are informed, but emotionally overwhelmed, caught between concern and the need to protect their mental space. Next, we are going to talk about why young people feel numbness, trying to find a psychological connection for this phenomenon. This emotional numbing can be understood through the psychological concept of hedonic adaptation. It is a survival mechanism which allows us to conserve emotional energy and function in challenging or stable environments. As shown on the slides, it is a process where our emotional response to a repeated stimulus diminishes over time. We see a three-stage emotional desensitization cycle. It begins with initial exposure and shock, moves to repeated exposure and moderate worry, and accumulates in chronic exposure, leading to emotional numbing, and the feeling is not news anymore. The key insight here is that more information does not equal to more engagement. It can instead trigger a psychological shutdown.
In the face of constant climate news and information overload, many young people develop emotional numbness as a coping strategy. As a short-term level, this numbness actually helps us function in everyday life. Firstly, it protects us from overwhelming anxieties, allowing us to continue studying, working, and maintaining daily routines and prevents emotional burnout caused by repeated exposure to climate disasters and warnings. However, while emotional numbness may feel protective, it comes with significant long-term costs. When emotions are suppressed for too long, our capacity for empathy and compassion gradually weakens. Climate suffering becomes something we know about, but no longer truly feel. As a result, motivation to take actions also declines. If the crisis feels distant or emotionally muted, it becomes harder to imagine that our actions matter or that meaningful change is possible. This emotional disengagement can create a strong sense of isolation and powerlessness, especially among young people who are already aware of the scale of the climate crisis. In this way, emotional numbness helps us survive emotionally, but at the same time, it prevents us from responding ethically and collectively to the challenges we face. In the previous slide, we discussed emotional numbness as a common response to climate anxiety, and it creates a clear tension that we are aware of the climate crisis, yet increasingly disconnect from meaningful action. This tension reveals a deeper problem: the way happiness has traditionally been defined. In the 20th century, happiness was often associated with stability, comfort, and freedom from the major problems. Emotional numbness fits perfectly within this model because it helps individuals avoid conflict and maintain a sense of normality. However, in a world shaped by climate crisis, uncertainty, and global risk, and these definitions to happiness no longer holds. Avoiding difficulty is no longer possible, nor it is desirable. Instead, well-being today must be understood as a capacity to engage meaningful with reality, even when the reality includes loose uncertainty and long-term challenges. Climate resilient well-being rests on four key pillars: resilience, agency, connection, and purpose. Together, these pillars allows young people not only to cope with uncertainty, but to remain emotionally engaged, ethically responsible, and hopeful about the future. Building on our discussion of climate resilient well-being, we examine how young people experiences climate anxiety in different cultural contexts. Based on our interviews with students from China and the United States, we found that despite cultural differences, both groups share a similar emotional trajectory. Initial anxiety followed by emotional numbness as climate news becomes part of everyday life. However, the expression of this numbness differs. American youth often frame their feelings using psychological terms, such as eco-anxiety, while the Chinese youth focus on more practical concerns, physical impacts, and individual or technological solutions. This finding shows that while climate anxiety is global, emotional expression and perceived agency are shaped by culture and informational context. This helps explain why redefining well-being is necessary. Although resilience, agency, connection, and purpose are universal pillars, they must be supported in cultural sensitive ways to truly help young people respond to the climate change.
After talking about climate anxiety and numbness, we want to move from what's going wrong to what can we actually do. Rather than seeing numbness as a failure, our findings suggest young people to develop a three-level response. At level 1, personal emotional regulation. Young people should manage their information intake by balancing alarming climate news with solution-focused content. This helps reduce emotional overload without disengaging. Naming emotions such as anxiety or fatigue also allows concern without panic or self-blame. At level 2, supportive social spaces, where coping becomes collective. Low-pressure conversation, online or offline, allow young people to share feelings without needing solutions. Peer spaces, especially on campus, help normalize climate anxiety as a shared generation experience. At level 3, meaningful and scale action. Young people should focus on small, manageable actions that fit their emotional capacity. Through collective actions, responsibility is shared, reducing the pressure of feeling individually responsible for a global problem. Building on these three responses, we introduce a new engagement framework called the tuning in model. This model helps young people move beyond the binary of complete avoidance on one side and total overwhelm on the other. The first step is select consciously. Young people choose what climate information to engage with based on their capacity, values, and goals, asking questions like what do I need to know right now and what can wait. The second step is process emotionally. Rather than suppressing emotions, the model encourages acknowledge feelings such as grief, anger, fear, or hope without judgment, simply recognizing this made me feel this way and that's valid. The third step is engage meaningfully. Action is most sustainable when it feels purposeful and value aligned, rather than driven by greed or obligation. The fourth step is restore regularly. Restoration through nature, creativity, social enjoyment, or digital detachment is not escapism but essential maintenance. Finally, connect deeply. Building relationships with others on similar journeys reforms the idea that individual well-being is deeply connected to community well-being and ecological health. Together, these steps create a more balanced and sustainable way of engaging with the climate crisis. Finally, we want to end by sharing 3 key messages with young people. First, your feelings are valid. Climate anxiety and numbness are rational response to a very real crisis. They don't mean you are weak or apathetic. They mean you are human. Second, you have more agency than you think. Even though we can't control the climate crisis itself, but we can choose how we respond to it, how we engage, how we care for ourselves, and how we stay connected. And third, small collective actions truly matter. You don't need to fix everything alone. Change happens when many people take small, consistent steps together over time. To conclude, the climate crisis is the constant harm of our generation. We may not be able to silence it, but we can learn to live meaningful within it. This is not just a challenge, it's also an opportunity to redefine what it means to live well together in uncertain times. We invite everyone to tune in, not with fear or numbness, but with clarity, compassion, and committed action.